And welcome to the season premiere of the Friday Night Blitz, the Week 0 edition. Some people call it Week 1. Right now, until further notice, we will continue to call it Week 0. You know, a number of games were contested last night, so we still had a pretty busy slate of action tonight. We'll start with our featured matchup. Right out of the blocks, the Ridgeview Blazers taking on the Fairfield Central Griffins at home, and Ridgeview wasting no time. Trey Howard to Carter Coleman. Tight window, gets it down. And Coleman makes the grab, a 46-yard connection down to the 11. And then from there, it's Howard keeping it. He will take it in for the first score of the year. So it's 7-0 Ridgeview. Fairfield Central has it. DeJuan Franklin with the hard hit. Devon Toney picks it up, and he is headed the other way. He got a 15-yarder for that, but he should get style points. Ridgeview is up 14-0. These are pretty good. The Bojangles Bash coming in December. Yes, the Bojangles Bash is back, and he'll be there. Head coach Joshua Staley hoping to lead the Blazer basketball team to a three-peat. How about Ashton Chapen off the bench, throws it up top with the picturesque bluish sky in the background. Picturesque pitch and catch to Jordan Mack, who hauls it in. And a solid start for head coach Derek Howard and the Blazers as they defeat Fairfield Central by a final of 40-0. At Spring Valley High School, the band performing at halftime. This is Candy by Cameo they're performing. Little 80s action for you at halftime. Norman Washington making his debut as the head coach of the Spring Valley Vikings. He's a graduate of the school, hoping to lead the Vikings to their first win since October of 2022. A 24-game losing streak. Rich Northeast, the opponent, they have the ball. Elijah Roundtree puts an end to that connection. Spring Valley being very physical on D. More defense from the Vikings. We had two players that could have come up with the INT, but a young man, number 17, has it. Now Spring Valley has it deep in R&E territory, but Torian Livingston has the INT in the end zone, and he is headed the other way for the Cavaliers. A little bit of a scrum, breaks out of the pack. He will go 102 yards, a pick six, 19-0 Rich Northeast in the third. But Spring Valley comes storming back to win it by a final of 22-19 in overtime. Wow, so Spring Valley's long losing streak is now over. Let's take it to Chapen. By all accounts, they have the best student section in the area. Just ask them, they'll tell you nobody's got more school spirit, and certainly they're on their A game tonight. Catawba Ridge in town. Nolan Jones runs it in from the visitors. Later, it's Boston Halpin's turn to score. And Chapen quickly down 13-0. Catawba Ridge looking very strong. Copperhead's also showing some defense. Luke Cromer fumbles, and the ball is recovered by Tyler Gindoff. It was all Catawba Ridge. That pass is broken up by Joshua Dobson. One of the top players in the country. Some have him rated as the guy in the country. And that was followed by a pick six by Casey Fickus. And Chapen falls at home to Catawba Ridge by a final of 30-0. In Dalzell, Crestwood opening up their new stadium on campus. It's the first time they've played on the campus in the school's nearly 30-year history. And the Knights welcoming in Manning, the first opponent on the on-campus site. And Crestwood is up 21-6 with 4 minutes left in the half, and the Knights looking to add more. Merrick Yates drops it off for Calvin Wofford, and they execute the screen very well. Wofford picks up the first down. Then on 3rd and long, Roosevelt Nelson's group is in business. Less than a minute and a half. Crestwood on the march. They're at the 10, low snap, but Yates gathers it up and finds Jaden Martin for the score, 27-6 at the half, and Crestwood breaks in their new stadium in style with a 48-14 win over the Monarchs of Manning. And we will stay in Sumpter County. Mark Barnes and his Sumpter Gamecocks in South Sumpter, making the short drive to take on the Lakewood Gators. After Lakewood returned the opening kick to the Sumpter 5, the Gators cash it in as Caden Brown keeps it and plows his way into the end zone for the score. 7-0, home team. Now Sumpter would fumble the ensuing kickoff, but would force a Gator punt, and then their offense goes to work. Frank Richardson keeps it, and that's a good call as he takes off and nearly takes it to the house, but is stopped just shy of the end zone. long sprint for the quarterback. Some conditioning hard at work there. That sets up Keon Gordon, who takes it in, making it 7-6 at that point. Lakewood punting from its own end zone. The snap sails over the punter's head. That's a safety. It is an 8-7 Sumpter advantage. Now the Gamecocks looking at 4th and 15. Mark Barnes decides to go for it. Richardson flips it to Corey Jackson on the end around. He picks up 16 to keep the drive alive. That would lead to Gordon again making his way into the end zone. 16-7. Sumpter leading at that point. And Sumpter gets it going, and they win it by a final of 41-13. Back here in town at Bolden Stadium, C.A. Johnson facing Columbia. The Hornets have a new head coach in Rodney Barr, who a few years ago was the head coach at Little Richland. Now he's back in the Midlands. The Hornets storming out of the gate, 14-0 lead before Columbia cuts the deficit to 14-8 just before halftime. But the second half turned chaotic. The Hornets offense fumbling it near midfield. Columbia's Miles McDuffie would scoop it up only to mistakenly sprint to the wrong end zone. Fans in disbelief. Despite the confusion, though, the Capitals able to score in the third. They ended regulation 16-all, but Columbia wins it in overtime by a final of 24-16. At Memorial Stadium, Dreher hosting W.J. Keenan. Dreher's offense struggling early. Walker Rowe throws it over his receiver's head, picked off by Russell Lee Sutton, and that's a big gain for the Raiders. And that return would lead to a rushing touchdown. The very next play, Hunter O'Neill and W.J. Keenan go up by a score of 16-0. Brandon Mack pounds it in the middle right before the half to give Dreher just a little bit of momentum. Keenan, though, too strong as they're able to find success in the air and on the ground. Maury Johnson here with the connection to Dion Hollis, and Keenan with a big lead, and they hang on to win it by a final of 30-22 over Dreher. The Saluda Tigers opening up the season at home against Crescent. Greg Warner making his debut as the Tigers head coach, taking over for Stuart Young, who was 1-0 at Lexington. Greg was the offensive coordinator of the Saluda staff. He was being promoted. First quarter, Crescent's DJ Edwards breaks through, but is brought down by Saluda's CJ Springs. No flag thrown for that tackle. A little later in the drive, Crescent has it 4th and goal from the 1, but the Saluda D-line holds it off and forces the turnover on downs. Ensuing Saluda drive, Braden Williams rolls out, lost it to C.J. Davis, who makes a great leaping catch before being shoved out of bounds. And Greg Warner 1-0 as Saluda's head coach as the Tigers win it by a final of 28-6 over Crescent. Let's head to the Low Country at the Citadel, the site of this contest between Irmo and Oceanside Collegiate, I should say. Raining in the Low Country, and check out Jordan Wright with the tackle. The ball gets knocked out of the end zone. Malik Miller falls on in the end zone for Irmo. That's not how they drew it up, but it'll work. And the PAT gives Irmo the 7-6 advantage. More from the Yellow Jackets. The post-A.J. Brand, post-Donovan Murph era. Jaden Bryant in for the score. Irmo takes a 14-6 lead, and Yellow Jackets, after making the 5A Division II state championship a year ago, hoping to take one step further this year. And they're 1-0 in the season by knocking off Oceanside Collegiate 35-28. Skiza action, Northside Christian Academy hosting Calhoun Academy. Jumping into the third quarter, Cavaliers up 21-0, and Calhoun's Colt Layton with the long quarterback keeper for the score, weaving his way, turning on the speed. Breaks a few tackles, and he is in for 6. Talk about summer conditioning. Next Cavalier drive, similar result. Although Layton hands it off to Joseph Lyons, who makes a few people miss. And he's into the next level, and he is gone. No one will catch him. So Calhoun Academy goes on to win it by a final of 35-6 over Northside Christian Academy. And we will have more scores on our website, WLTX.com, and the WLTX app. More sports coming your way right after this.